Hey, welcome back to Bridges. Thanks for staying with us, those of you who have, and those of you who've joined us on the second segment, welcome. We are going to be talking to two leaders in the African American Leadership Caucus about a really important issue. Actually, there are two. We're going to do a little talking about Trayvon. You want to talk about Trayvon a little bit? Thank you for doing that. I said on this show several months ago that my biggest fear was that this whole Trayvon issue would go away after a month or two of people being really upset about it. So I appreciate your wanting to bring it back to light just a little bit this morning. Your bigger issue, though, today is a conversation that you intend to have with Dr. Romulus Durant about the public education for our kids. So why don't we start there?
Hey, we are actually sponsoring an event, our African American Leadership Caucus on Tuesday, October 8th, at Kent Branch Library. It's a conversation with Dr. Romulus Durant. We're going to allow people to have the time and space to listen to what he has to say about the upcoming levy, as well as his plans for TPS.
And let's introduce people to the purpose of your caucus. I should have done that first.
Yes. Our mission is to strengthen our community through political engagement, education, and advocacy. And ultimately, our vision entails three main goals. We want to raise awareness about local politics in our community. We are looking to also increase the number of young people in the political process, groom and train future political leaders. We are also looking to increase the number of African Americans in elected positions in Lucas County.
Thank you, and I forgot to introduce you all to Tiffany Whitman. I know you've seen her name on the screen, but this is Tiffany, and Tiffany's a part of the caucus. Elgin Rogers has been here before. Yes. Why did you all pick this particular issue to address publicly? This is one of your first big events as an organization. Why did you pick this event? Why did you pick education?
Well, one of the things that Tiffany and I are both educators, and a lot of people in our group here they come from the educational field. And one thing that we notice here in Toledo is that our children are suffering, and part of it is through lack of educational opportunities. And Dr. Durant has been doing an outstanding job with the young men and young women in TPS schools. And so we want to give him an opportunity to state his vision and for the community to have input and voice their concerns about what they see as a driving force to help Dr. Durant, because he can't do it alone.
So this is really about bringing the community together around this issue of education. That is so exciting to hear about. One of the things that happens, not just in this town, but it happens all over, is that there's a lot of talk about issues. I mean, quite frankly, we kind of know what the issues are around why kids of color are not learning as well, and are struggling in the all school systems more than anyone else. But what's your expectation at the end of this conversation? What do you think is going to happen at the end? What do you want to happen at the end?
We want people to be really educated about what the plan is. I think a lot of times we want people to be educated. I think a lot of times we hold anecdotal information about what we think of our schools and what's going on with our teachers. And so we want people to know, what's going on, with the levy, possibly even talk about where the money's being spent, but also what is his plans for the future.
That's great to know. And the point that I didn't make very well is that, we start these conversations and then we don't follow them with anything. So you spent time listening to people talk about what their concerns are, and there's really no plan to move it to the next step. So it sounds like what you all are saying is let's start by educating the community with what the facts are. With what the facts are.
Part of it is also engagement. Tiffany talked about the advocacy piece, but a lot of times people are just talked to, as opposed to having an actual role in their own, as Tiffany likes to say, in their own healing. So in order for us to move forward, I think the community has to have a voice in what goes on, instead of, again, coming back to the table and someone's dictating to them what is best for their children.
You know what though, Eldon? I think people need to own that voice. I think that I don't think, and I've been active in that school system for a lot of years, and I don't know that they've dictated for a number of years. What you don't get, though, is the ownership by the community of the necessity to have them in the process. And it's easier to sit back and complain at the end of the day. It really is. So I think we need to encourage people to stand up and be a part of the process.
Now, Donnie, I think we may be saying the same things. The only thing, when I say dictate, a lot of times people, parents, in my experience as a teacher, they don't feel like they have an opportunity to speak to teachers in a way that's where they're on the same level. So it is a sense of being dictated to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's my show. I win.
You win. You win.
But at any rate, I mean, the bottom line is here that we really want people involved in the process, and we want them to take some ownership for their role in the process as well. Okay, and this event happens, and we'll give you this information again, but Tuesday, October 8th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Kent Branch Library. Thank you, Brian, for putting that up. And the Kent Branch Library is on Collingwood. For more information, there's a phone number, and we will make sure that you get to see that before the end of the show. Let's talk for a little bit about Trayvon. You guys brought lots of Trayvon buttons. You're wearing Trayvon buttons. What's that all about?
Well, again, the situation that happened in Florida was very tragic. It was terrible. This young man was stalked and killed, and we know the outcome. And one thing, the members in our group, we thought that this is an issue that you can just get upset about. We had a nice rally here in Toledo, but then what happens next?
Absolutely.
Right. So in order for us to stay engaged, it was our thought process to create these buttons and badges, but in his memory, instead of just being riled up, let's get out and vote. So we put together a Get Out the Vote effort, an early vote effort, and we encourage people to early vote.
Which is going on now, by the way. Early voting started October 1.
Yes, and it ends Monday, October 7th. So go vote early and then come to the meeting on Tuesday,
So
October 8th.
why don't people vote more often? Oh my gosh, they both took these big sighs, and like this is a major question. It's a major question, complicated question, huh?
It's very complicated. I think that, again, it goes back to what's on the menu. Right?
Really?
Sometimes, again, people aren't satisfied with the choices. And one thing that we found out, we saw here in the local election and the primary, is that votes matter. No matter how big, one vote can change, is a difference maker. But to get back to your question, look at the menu.
But you know, everything is political. It doesn't really matter what the menu is. Every single thing that gets on that ballot affects our lives in one way or another. You know, we need to take the election of our representatives far more seriously than we do. It shouldn't be about cronyism. It shouldn't be about party politics. It should be about who is going to represent the issues of the community and respond to those issues quickly and efficiently and effectively. Again, I think the public doesn't own its responsibility in this regard. What do you think, Tiffany?
You know, I think another big factor is that some people are just not educated about the process. They don't know who the representatives are.
I think
they
you're
don't know, you know, how much can I say, how much involvement can I really have, how much of an impact can I really have, and that's really a big part of our organization. And what we plan to do is really help people understand you can make a difference. You know, this is how, you know, your policies become laws, and this is how, you know, your concerns become issues, you know, on representatives' platforms. So that's really a part of,
you know, but you are fighting such an uphill battle in so many ways, because people feel as though nothing really changes. Nobody really listens to me. I mean, if you're living in neighborhoods that are on the decline, you go out your front door and you look around and you say, you know, what are my elected officials doing for my neighborhood?
Donnie, I'm excited to be here today.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
I'm excited to have you here, Elvin.
Because what you just said, I feel like the African American Leadership Caucus, I feel like we're winning. We're bringing young folks to the table who normally wouldn't have a voice in party politics. We are part of the Democratic Party, and we've had strong support from Ron Rothenbuehler and Yvonne Harper. And we're bringing people to the table who, like Tiffany said, who did not know, and they're becoming informed. We've had great support throughout the state from State Senator Nina Turner, some of our local council folks, President Paula Hicks Hudson and Councilman Tyrone Riley. We have great folks who are reaching out to the younger generation and who are actually speaking their language.
So so the goal is to, because I'm not sure exactly who's in the younger generation and who's not, but because 60 is the new 40.
Yeah.
60 is the new 40.
60 is a new 40. You still have a segment of our population that feels terribly disenfranchised. So I'm inferring that you all are saying that part of your mission is going to be to bring those folks to the table and say, look, change is possible.
Yes.
Change is possible in your neighborhood if you get involved. Is that what you're saying?
That's what we're saying, but change is possible in your neighborhood, but you have to get out there and walk your neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that
Absolutely.
we're doing and that we'll continue to do. And Tiffany, she brought up a good point about making sure that folks are educated. And informed. And that's one of our main things, is making sure that people are educated and informed. And a part of that education is having hands-on experience.
Right. Absolutely. And so back to Trayvon just a little bit. Trayvon, you were reminding us of what happened. We have like a minute left. Any words you want to leave people with around that issue?
Anytime tragedy strikes, it feels close to home when you are in that situation. Myself, I've been profiled and stopped by the police constantly, but I never get a ticket, so I'm just a lucky guy. So we just want to make sure that people understand their rights and be respectful, of authority, and
that's right.
Do what you need to do to get out of the situation.
And don't forget Trayvon. Thank you so much. We need to go away. Thank you for joining us today. Stay with me though for just a second. We got to go away, but we'll be right back.